Good morning. This is a Palo Santo stick. You can actually purchase them on our store. I use either like sage or shaman stick a couple times a day. I'm using it to clear the energy on the feed. I had to put like a disclaimer because a lot of people didn't know what it was. I'm going to be covering session 11 and then I'm getting off of here and I'm going to literally go back-to-back lives. So give me a second to post this one. This one's faster to post because I post it less places. I'm going to be finishing up session 11 right now, and then I'm getting off of here, and I will be going live to do cards. Alright, I'm going to be covering session 11, and then like I said, I'll be getting off of here right away, and I'll be going live on my Sparks of Divine Light Healing page. So I'll be doing 2 lives. Hi Brittany, good morning. I'm a little late today because Brittany hasn't been waking me up in the morning anymore. Well, I get up on my own, but getting me out of bed. So we're covering session 11. I'm kind of looking forward to getting past this session because it's getting a little boring for me, to tell you the truth. So we're going to go through this really fast. I had people asking me, can we do question and answers, because I'm always just kind of breezing over it, not looking at the comments. We're going to do a question and answer on the law of one, or anything we've covered, which is pretty much a broad array of topics. Like, they just kind of jump all over the place. So it's pretty much anything, Ascension, Egypt, things like that. So we'll do a question and answer thing on Monday. I was a little late this week because we have this moon energy, so I've been working in overtime. So I'm a little bit kind of late with my feed. We'll do a question and answer on Monday. So think of all of your questions from anything we've been covering. We've been covering Bigfoot a lot, Mars, the pyramids, traveling by thought, UFOs, extraterrestrials, consciousness, all sorts of things. So think of your questions, and I'll do a special question and answer when we do the next session. So they talk about ritual. We see a lot of ritual, especially with some kind of religions going on now. I see a lot of ritual with Catholicism, where they do a lot of ritual without realizing it with their prayers and things like that. So ritual is really important. They say it's through ritual that they're able to make contact through the channel or to channel through her. I do some rituals too. I consider any of my feeds channeling. Per se, the way I do them, I just kind of go with the flow and let the universe channel through me. So I kind of am into ritual too. I always put myself in the light of Christ consciousness and do these little ritualistic things as well. Let me see. Ra tells them it's not important the amount of people in the group that they're doing. What is important is the questioner. We know that after he died, these sessions completely stopped, even with the same group. The questioner killed himself, just to remind you guys. The questioner's vibration is what allowed this communication in the first place. The other members of the group, as in the other two, share their energy with Carla after she gets out of the sessions, but it's actually the questioner's vibration. And this is really important with channeling, because we know that if you're not completely service to others with your questions, you'll get replaced with a negative entity at some point. So it's really important, the questioner's vibration and the questioner's intent. That's why I'm kind of weird with what kind of questions I'll answer for people. And we discussed on my last video how Maldak was destroyed because of war. This planet was a service to self planet. Last time we went over how they thought they were service of others, though. They really did think they were, but they definitely weren't. We have a lot in common with this planet. If they hadn't destroyed themselves, it probably would have been a mixed harvest. A few would have moved into the 4th density in service to self. The majority would have repeated the 3rd density. Maybe that's because a lot of these entities are incarnate here now, though, that we're having the same kind of things play out. Because we know that we're like a melting pot, and there are people here with soul origins from everywhere. And there is a planet opposite our sun in relation to us that we do not know about. This planet is very cold. It's large enough to skew certain statistical figures. Technically, this planet should not be called a planet, though, because it's locked in the 1st density. I think people are figuring out that the universe is a big place, hopefully, and that maybe we didn't even originate from here, and we just have this vast history that we're just being made aware of. The entities from Naldek might go to 4th density negative though. And we're kind of getting ready for a harvest. Some people call it Ascension Harvest. There's all sorts of religious texts, prophecies, all sorts of things that we're kind of living in the middle of right now. As our cycle ends and graduation occurs, it is possible for people to go from our 3rd density to a 4th density planet that is of a service of self or negative type. In our harvest, the probability is small though, but we're getting ready to kind of like get sorted, and people get sorted by whether they're service of self or service to others. I personally want off this planet this morning, right? Just this morning, I kind of want off this planet. You know, I asked my guides maybe if I could go to another planet to continue learning with my twin flame, and I get the answer back that I'm not allowed to. I have to stay here to teach and help. It's just kind of my mission. But there is a probability that you can leave here when you're ready, that you can go learn in other places, and there are really beautiful higher dimensional places that we could be learning. Let's talk about what happened to Adolf Hitler. We have kind of covered this really fast because I started using like the study guides way back when, so a little bit of this material is repetitive. So we did like an overview of it. Adolf is currently in a healing process in the middle astral planes of your planet force field. He was greatly confused and needed a great deal of care. He is aware of the circumstances of how his vibration has changed upon death. And that's the thing, that our vibration is one way while we're here, and when we die, when we get rid of the body, it's our complete original kind of divine template. And it's much, much different. So a lot of people are just kind of in awe of their Akashic records. There have been people in history who went to a 4th density service to self or negative type of planet, or will go to one. Like I said, these numbers are small. The number of people harvested is actually small too. Some have made it past the 8th level, which is only accessible for opening up the 6th and the 7th. When you penetrate the 8th level, which is intelligent infinity, this allows you to be harvested anytime during the cycle. Like I said, you can reach a point in your ascension where you can be harvested anytime as well. Some of these people are known in the history of our planet. We've touched on this from the study guides though. Alright, we have Taras Bulba, Genghis Khan, and Rasputin. They accomplished this by being aware. They had memory and understanding from Atlantis. They knew about the chakras and used this energy to attain the gateway for intelligent infinity. This enabled them to do what we refer to as magic. They could do paranormal things while they were incarnate. These people all were service to self. They did not use their abilities consciously. Rasputin was awake though and aware. Even though he was service to self, he was an adept. They all ascended into the 4th dimension. Each chose a 4th density planet where they could keep learning the law of one, but through service to self. This is known as the Orion group. And this is also known as Cassiopeia and the Southern Cross. Genghis Khan is now part of the Orion group. When we hear Orion, I automatically think reptiles. Sorry. I just put 2 and 2 together. That's an easy way to remember it, what this group is. His job of occupation there is he serves the creator in his own way. Genghis Khan is incarnate in a light body, and his work is dissembling material of thought, control to those of you who you may call the Crusaders. He would be called a shipping clerk. The Crusaders do move in their chariots to conquer planetary complexes before they reach the stage of achieving social memory. I've been really seeing a lot of stuff too about like MK Ultra, thought control, things like that. This stuff is real, guys. It's so common on a daily basis. I'm running into all of this stuff with my healing work, seeing it everywhere, seeing the effects of it, and it's just kind of mind-blowing. A planet achieves social memory when its entire group of entities are of one orientation of seeking. By this we mean either service to self or service to others. So you can see that this planet is highly in danger of being harvested as a service of self planet right now. I know a lot of people say, I'm always helping people, I'm always doing good things for people, I'm always, trying, whatever. We have a lot of people in our family like that, but what it comes down to is what are you doing for the good of all? And that's what's good for everyone. So a lot of people are on paths where they're doing what's good for themselves at a detriment to humanity. They are harming humanity with toxic chemicals, things everywhere, and they're not doing what is good for the good of all. We have Crusaders from Orion coming to this planet for mind control purposes. They follow the law of one, and they're not violating free will. They make contact with those that call. And I just want to say this again, that I'm trying to learn the same laws of the universe that the reptiles are using to enslave humanity and torture them to help liberate humanity. So it can go either way. Just know these entities are not violating the laws of the universe. What they are doing is okay. It is okay when you volunteer and agree to get that flu shot, even though it's toxic and going to kill you. You agreed to it. So they are really smart. Most of these entities are fourth density entities, so they have a good understanding, but hopefully most of humanity is reaching a place of fifth density, which is a little higher, a little smarter, a little more conscious, a little more aware. There are names that may be known on this planet that are recipients of the Crusaders' efforts, but Ra won't disclose them because it's an infringement of free will to give us that information, because it's really influencing future events. The Crusaders pass on their concepts to the individuals on Earth in two main ways. These are also the two ways we can polarize towards being service to others. There are those that seek to make contact with our planet. They seek to make contact with people who have sources of information and power that can be used to open the gates to intelligent infinity. So we know that these gates are being opened in a negative capacity as well as in a positive capacity everywhere. And we know that the law of one doesn't differentiate between service of self and service to others. There are people who can open this gateway being service to self. They seek to manipulate and control humanity mainly. Most of the time that is the goal, that is the agenda of these entities. Information is being passed on from the Crusaders to these people. The Orion group passes on information about the law of one, but it's distorted to be service of self. The purpose is to manipulate, control, or enslave. These negative entities love the law of one. They love these new age groups. They love the same kind of circles we love, these same kind of spiritual circles. And the reason why is because they like to twist and manipulate the law of one to make it self-serving, so that we will love evil, we will embrace it as a part of ourselves, and we'll be kind of okay with it. That's kind of where I see the biggest twisting happening. I've seen it in some of my old light worker groups I had to leave because I didn't like their concepts. I didn't like how people would just tell me it was all me and, you know, it must be everything's my fault and I need to fix myself because everything's a mirror when things really weren't my fault. I would just get deflected all the time and it would kind of annoy me. So I've seen this really up close and personal, as some of you guys can too. There is this distortion of oneness being passed around to make people ignore and continue to allow evil to ruin the world. Some scientists receive technical information telepathically that comes out as usable gadgetry. Many scientists have used this information in a positive way, but we all know lots of technology is always being used in a negative capacity as well. We know someone who worked on the geoengineering projects, and they never would have done it if they thought that it wasn't going to be used to help humanity in some way. And they were basically sold out and lied to get people to really work on a lot of these projects. And this is how we learned about nuclear energy. It's mixed with a positive and a negative orientation. The entities responsible for this were of a mixed orientation. They were both very positive and very negative. This extremely negative entity is still incarnate on Earth, but Ra will not name him. I saw a really good video the other day. Maybe it was the one we did with Trusika, me and Lionel. And it was a really good point that he said the same spirits that were tempting Jesus and tormenting him are around with us and playing with us right now. So we're up against these ancient spirits and the unseen. This extremely negative entity is still here, like I said. Nikola Tesla got his information from the Confederation as well in these sources. Tesla was positive, but he was also angelic, which a lot of you guys can relate to. A lot of us are either turning into angelic entities or came here as them. Tesla was positive and angelic. He wanted to better our planet. He was a wanderer like us, and he became disoriented from the vibratory differences in the third density. This hindered his mission, unfortunately. And it's so easy to get lost here. I feel lost every day. I'm just like mind-blowing. It's just so much to articulate. So I can kind of correlate with that. freeing people from darkness would have had one of two results. First, people would have had no need to pay money for energy. I would love that. If I didn't have to pay my light bill every month, it would be pretty amazing. I'd save like $100 a month. So I think it really would have helped humanity as a whole. That's why he failed on his mission, because they wanted to be able to make money off of it and to still charge people the same. That wasn't his intent. Second, this would afford people much more leisure, obviously. It would have lit up the whole world for free, basically. And we have infinite energy sources that we can tap into, that we can use, that we could be using for any kind of energy, like running our automobiles, things like that. It would have been a free energy. It would have enhanced people's freedoms. That's why he died broke. A lot of his research was sabotaged too. They actually had a Tesla center in Colorado, which was completely sabotaged and shut down, and all of this stuff was kind of lost and taken. All right, we're going to finish with the Industrial Revolution. In general, this was planned. Wanderers incarnated here in several waves. I always say I'm the second wave. I resonate with that. As one of the second wave, I kind of woke up late and I'm like, here I am. And get ready for the next wave. They're going to be even louder than me. We bring into existence a gradual freeing from the demands of each cycle and freedom from these systems. They close the session asking how to make their channel always more comfortable. And they're always told that by aligning the symbols, it's the most important thing that we can do. I'm always talking about symbols. I'm always posting them everywhere with these memes and things like that, because you might not know what a symbol means, but when you're seeing it, it does something to your subconsciousness or your consciousness. And that's why we see crop circles everywhere. A lot of people don't know what they mean. They might be patterns, beautiful pictures, whatever. They're, aside from being like acupuncture for the earth, they literally do something to our consciousness when we see it. They really expand it. Me and Sparks are talking about, we're going to go to some Egyptian art museum stuff, because we want to be able to look at this stuff. Just being around it, it has a certain energy in it, and it will affect your consciousness. Like we like the Ancient Egypt series, and they're always coming out with new ones, and just watching the amazing art and symbolism, it's really amazing for your consciousness. So they go over what the Crusaders from Orion's ultimate objective is. They serve oneself. They are self-serving. But to serve oneself is to serve all. Remember that. This path requires constant manipulation, though, and using others for personal gain. I think we might all kind of relate to that. There's a lot of people, I'm going to check real quick the comments. There's a lot of people with like negative orientations, being influenced by entities. It's just so common. I spent like a good 5 years with 3 attachments, so I know it's really common. There's a lot of things influencing humanity, making people not quite themselves, whatever it is, just from our low vibration. I'm going to check and see if there's any comments, but I'm going to get off of here and do cards really quick. Hold on one sec. It's going to be a really nice day. I have a lot to talk about on the other feed too, so I'm hoping you guys will just join me there. Okay, well, I'll be logging off. It's a beautiful day. Join me on my next feed. I'm going to be going in like 5 minutes.